umutekano w'imibereho, iterambere ry'umuturage. Radio Imanzi 105.1 FM. Twese hamwe birashoboka.
We got you updated. This is Radio Imanzi News in English.
This is Radio Imanzi, broadcasting from Kigali. Here is the news in English, brought to you by Fiona Omugano. The headlines. President Kagame has emphasized the importance of parliament in combating genocide ideology through legislation and cooperation in order to achieve a peaceful world free of discrimination. The First Lady of Rwanda, Kagame, has awarded 708 for best performing girls in Musanze district. The East African community is setting up a diaspora desk that will focus on facilitating East Africans living in the diaspora to invest and trade in the region. Welcome back. News in detail. President Kagame has emphasized the importance of parliaments in combating genocide ideology through legislation and cooperation in order to achieve a peaceful world free of discrimination. He was speaking today during the 145th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union and its related meetings in Kigali that is underway. The head of state noted that peace, democracy and cooperation are very important. He said there is no part in this world that can claim to have it all. It starts with working on democracy and working for peace.
All over the world, parliaments exist to protect the interests of citizens. This objective cannot be met without the full and active participation of women in our parliaments, especially in leadership positions. Despite steady gains in equality between women and men continues to be widespread. Setting quotas takes us a step closer to equal representation, but does not address the full spectrum of inequalities in parliaments and in our society at large. Gender equality is better achieved when we acknowledge that it is a right for everyone, everywhere. All over the world, parliaments exist to protect the interests of citizens. This objective cannot be met without the full and active participation of women in our parliaments, especially in leadership positions. Despite steady gains in equality between women and men continues to be widespread. setting quotas takes us a step closer to equal representation, but does not address the full spectrum of inequalities in parliaments and in our society at large. Gender equality is better achieved when we acknowledge that it is a right for everyone, everywhere.
Among the issues on the Assembly's agenda, there is ensuring gender equality-driven legislatures, the impacts of war and atrocity on civilian populations, war and climate change as triggers of global food insecurity, and the situation of the human rights of parliamentarians. The First Lady of Rwanda, Janet Kagame, awarded 784 best performing girls today in Musanze district to commemorate the 10th anniversary of International Day of a Girl, which is observed on October 11th every year. Named Inkubito Zicheza, the best performing girls in primary and secondary school awarded today included those who had not been rewarded in 2020 and 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. During her speech, the First Lady made a call to fathers who have daughters to be more involved in their lives, teaching them the good ways of life and protecting them from any harm. She said if the fathers are the ones informing them of the tricks and bad behavior of those who intend to take advantage of them, they better understand it. She said fathers should do more of having conversations and listening to their daughters because it empowers them tremendously. More than 30,000 students who sought for national exams filed claims requesting the National Examination and School Inspection Authority (NESA) to change schools they were allocated. Students who placed claims solicited various reasons like chronic illness, disabilities, among others. For instance, Christian Jisubizo, a parent and a resident of Kasawa district, said he has a child who has been unable to attend school because she was assigned to a school in Nyamagabe district despite having a chronic illness. He said he filed for replacement when the results came out, but they are still waiting even though other students are in class now. According to NESA, only 3,000 students have so far been responded to in accordance with their requests. However, NESA announced that they have asked schools' head teachers to inspect and find out the number of students who were supposed to report to their respective schools to which they were allocated but did not come through, and make a report including those who wish to transfer. The Director General of NESA, Bernard Bahati, said there have been too many students demanding to be handled all at once, adding that parents and students are asked to be patient at least until Friday next week. The Rwanda National Police is said to regain powers to conduct criminal investigations 5 years after it relinquished this role to the Rwanda Investigations Bureau, thanks to the new draft law presented to Parliament. The bill tabled by Interior Minister Alfred Kasana seeks to help bridge gaps that frustrate the operation and management of the police force. When the Rwanda Investigations Bureau was established in 2017 as the country's career investigative organ, it effectively took over some of the responsibilities formerly under the police, including powers to conduct criminal investigations. As a result, the police was left without powers to, among others, conduct search at a suspected crime scene, to seize certain items related to a crime, to collect preliminary evidence at the crime scene, and to conduct an investigation of road traffic offences, including accidents. The proposal to give some investigative powers to the police is meant to help both the Rwanda Investigations Bureau and the Rwanda National Police deliver more effectively in an effort to ensure complementarity between the two institutions. Economic news is a regular feature on Radio Imanzi. The Rwanda Stock Exchange Market Report. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 832,986,400 Rwandan francs worth of bonds traded in one deal on the fixed income market, while the equities market remained quiet. The equities counters closed with Bralirwa at 170 Rwandan francs, Bank of Kigali at 272 Rwandan francs, I&M Bank at 43 Rwandan francs, Smergwa at 120 Rwandan francs, M10 Rwanda at 176 Rwandan francs, Equity Bank at 440 Rwandan francs, Kenya Commercial Bank at 370 Rwandan francs, National Media Group at 1,200 Rwandan francs, Uchumi Supermarket at 104 Rwandan francs, and R8 Buffalo closed the counter at 526 Rwandan francs as the market closed. The currency market review of today. Burundian franc buying price was 0.5 and the selling price was 0.51. Ugandan shilling buying price was 0.26 and the selling price was 0.27. Tanzanian shilling buying price was 0.44 and the selling price was 0.45. The Kenyan shilling buying price was 8.5 and the selling price was 8.7. The euro buying price was 1,000 and the selling price was 1,021. The British pound buying price was 1,140 and the selling price was 1,163. The US dollar buying price was 1,034 and the selling price was 1,054.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
The East African community is setting up a diaspora desk that will focus on facilitating East Africans living in the diaspora to invest and trade in the region. The East African Community Secretary General, Dr. Peter Matuki, has revealed that the Secretariat is also currently developing a diaspora engagement strategy, providing a framework for interacting with the diaspora community. The Secretary General made the remarks during the East Africa 17th Annual Trade and Investment Conference organized by the East Africa Chamber of Commerce in Irving, Texas, United States. The meeting saw hundreds of East Africans residing across the USA and East African-focused investors converge to explore areas of investment and deliberate on solutions to overcome investment and trade challenges. The Kenya Airways has reduced its fleet by 2 more planes as part of cost-cutting measures seeking to steady the loss-making airline. The national carrier's fleet size narrowed in the last 9 months after 2 leased Embraer 190 aircraft were surrendered following expiry of lease. The Kenya government is pushing for restructuring of the airline on the lack of a multi-million-dollar bailout plan, where the struggling airline is required to reduce its network, operate a more smaller fleet, and possibly reduce its workforce. Heat waves will become so extreme in certain regions of the world within decades that human life there will be unsustainable, according to the report by the UN and the Red Cross. The organizations said heat waves are predicted to exceed human physiological social limits in the Sahel, the Horn of Africa, and South and Southwest Asia, with extreme events triggering large-scale suffering and loss of life. The UN's Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs and the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies released the report in advance of the next month's UN COP27 Climate Change Summit in Egypt. They said aggressive steps are needed to be taken immediately to avoid potentially recurrent heat disasters, listing steps that could mitigate the worst effects of extreme heat. A new Ebola outbreak in central Uganda has killed 17 people in 3 weeks, according to the health ministry. The previous death toll from the Ugandan authorities published on October 5th was 10. The Ugandan government is counting only deaths among confirmed patients, which is 48 people as of October 9th, according to the ministry. With that, we come to the end of tonight's edition.